We're joined by Eileen Ley. She's the new publisher of the newspaper, Voice of the Diabetic. And you also are, the other title?
I'm the Director of Diabetes Initiatives for the National Federation of the Blind.
Director of Diabetes Initiatives for the National Federation for the Blind. You say you deal with anything technical or anything to do with diabetes?
Everything related to diabetes, because diabetes causes blindness. The Federation has been very involved. We've published Voice of the Diabetic for 22 years, and we're also involved on making anything we need to do to make technology for diabetes accessible, so that a person who's blind can use all the other technology that sighted diabetics have.
Let me ask you, because I started the diabetes supply store with my partner back in 1989.
Oh yeah?
And there was a meter as big as like an oven.
A brick? Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
It was
true.
like as big as a microwave.
Yes.
And then sometimes there were no talking meters. So tell me about the significance of this
Well, the lovely thing, which we're very happy about this Prodigy Voice, is that it is about the same size as other meters. It's not a brick. It's not something you need a backpack for. And it's very elegantly designed. It's very usable for a blind person from the very beginning till the end. A blind person can set the date, set the time, listen to the memories, things like that, which we wouldn't have been able to do with other meters. Now, there was a very good product by Roche, but it was very, very big. And it was on the market. It's been on the market over 10 years. So we felt strongly that blind people deserved modern technology. Blind people deserve to have what everyone else has. And so we were kind of glad when Roche decided to discontinue it. I know they're working on other products, but right now there's really no other option that's as accessible. This is what we expect. The Federation of the Blind believes this is the most accessible diabetes glucose meter on the market. And it's interesting the way it was developed. The company engineers came to us when they had another version. They had the Prodigy autocode. And they came to our headquarters in Baltimore, Maryland, where the Federation of the Blind is headquartered, and we have a research institute there, the Jernigan Research Institute. And they showed us the technology, and then they just sat and listened to our feedback, because we're not just speaking for individual blind people. We're elected by blind people, and we're run by blind people to speak on behalf of blind people. So it's a little bit like going to the union, or say, yeah. So we told them you need a repeat function, you need to be a blind person to be able to handle the coding or have no coding. It needs to be able to set the date and time and look at the history of the record and stuff. And unlike most engineers we've ever spoken to, who's like, yeah, right, they went off, a couple months later came back and said, here, we've got it. And we were just stunned. We were so surprised that we passed a resolution at our national convention in Atlanta commending the Prodigy people for the way they develop technology in conjunction with the end user.
That's really marvelous.
Isn't that a great story?
I'm impressed.
Very impressed.
Because having been covering meters for 17 years, you think that should have happened a long time ago.
Well, the amazing thing
these companies have plenty of money. They could have come and sat down with you and asked you what you wanted. Why didn't that happen? You saw the market was too small?
Well, I've only been in my job for a couple months, so.
Okay.
But we are really trying to exert our influence and explain to people why we have the knowledge, and that by partnering with business, we can make their job easier by teaching them how to make things accessible without a lot of fuss and fury. I think what people have not realized in the past is that there's a whole lot of people who are diabetic after being blind. For example, we started our magazine to write for diabetics who lost their vision from type 1. Well, now more than half of our readers are blind people who are type 2. And also you have this older people getting older and older, having vision impairment problems, living longer, but living independently. And so the market's growing in terms of the need for these accessible products. People are finally stopping to respect the senior citizen market and say, well, what do they need? And the way we talk about the accessibility is that the universal design of making something talk just is a smart business sense for all products. In fact, our resolution that we passed said that every meter should be designed with a speech feature built in. That way, blind people always have the most current technology available to them. They won't be working with a 10-year-old meter while everyone else gets the newest, greatest, and latest. That's very important.
I wonder if the American with Disabilities Act would cover that.
Well, technology is not well covered by the ADA very easily. However, the Federation of the Blind has had a lot of legal cases. We sued Target, for example, because Target's website was not accessible. Well, as soon as we won that lawsuit, 25% more corporations had accessible websites. I mean, we really try to set policy there. And we don't want to sue people about technology. We want to partner with them to make things work well. But we're not beyond that. If it needs to be legislated, for example, Medicare dollars are spent to buy this technology for people. And Medicare are federal dollars. And when federal dollars are involved, accessibility should be important.
Right.
So there might be a little stick there sometime, but we don't plan to be using that anytime soon. We would just like to be consulted in the development of technology, like the Prodigy guys did. They did a lovely job, and we commend them for that.
This is a great success story. So if any of these companies are watching, you can say you're inviting them, right? You have an open door policy?
Partner with us, absolutely. Because our policy is we want all diabetes technology to be available, not just one product. We want
what are the
people
numbers
who
we're
are
talking
blind
about?
to have choice. We've got millions of visually impaired people who need this kind of technology.
But with diabetes?
And that's just in the U.S.
Visually impaired with diabetes?
With diabetes, correct.
How many?
Well, I don't have any specific numbers on that with type 1 and type 2 combined. But diabetes is this leading cause of blindness in people who are working age.
Right.
So not over 70, but not under 21. So it's one of the 3 leading causes of blindness and the largest for working age blind people.
All right.
I did want to tell you one thing more about accessible features.
Yes.
It's not just for blind people. The point is, you could have cataract surgery tomorrow, and for a matter of 2 or 3 weeks, you're not going to have good vision to use your meter. And I was at diabetes camp with my son 2 weeks ago. The power went out. For 2 days, we had no power at the camp in Maryland, and all these children are on insulin pumps and couldn't read their meter in the nighttime. See, these are things that if you're in a dark restaurant, if you're in bed and you don't want to get up and turn on the light, these features are important for everybody. Just like you have the talking GPS in your car. The talking GPS is not designed for blind people, right?
Right.
But the speech is helpful.
Exactly.
And the key is to design the speech in a way that is usable. Lots of stuff is designed with speech, but it's not usable by a blind person. The speech is just added in there as a decoration.
Right.
But with a little planning, it's not going to make things more expensive. It's just going to be the right thing to do.
Eileen, thanks for coming over to share your views with us.
Thank you very much.